Roy, is it much of a concern that you could have a second game in a week called off?
I don't quite know how to answer the question. I'm not planning for it to be called off. I don't think it will be called off. I know that Blackpool are working very hard and doing everything they can to get their pitch ready, and I believe they'll succeed. Of course, the weather is always the weather, and there are factors beyond people's control, but at the moment I'm preparing for the game going ahead, and we're preparing for the game going ahead.
Is it much of an inconvenience when games are called off?
Yes, it is, especially when you get 2 called off, or in Blackpool's case, if this was to happen, 3 called off, because it's going to mean a fixture pile-up later on in the year, and in particular for teams like ourselves who have still got an interest in the Europa League, that could be very irritating. So we would like to get all the games that are scheduled to be played on schedule.
Gerrard ready then?
Stephen Gerrard's fit and Daniel Agger is fit, yes.
How big a boost as well? Gerrard?
So a big boost going into 5 games in 15 days. We must never forget that as well. You know, you talked earlier about a winter break. You know, 5 days in 15 games is a season-changing period for every club in the Premier League, and maybe one should ask why 5 games in 15 days is necessary, when in actual fact football can quite easily become a game which can last the whole year round. We don't have that conflict with cricket which existed in the 1950s and 60s anymore.
Is that extra week been a boost for Stephen then?
Well, he'd have been fit to play against Fulham as well, so it doesn't hurt, of course, to get an extra week, get some more training in, but what he needs now is matches and to play matches, and unfortunately the chance to play a match was missed by our game against Fulham, falling victim to the weather.
On the Blackpool match, Roy, quickly, the game earlier on in the season, for you, was that the most disappointing result of the season?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. It came, you know, I'll just remind you of one thing, that it came as the 3rd game in a week, and we'd used a lot of the senior players on the Thursday match that week as well. So we played Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. It was the 3rd match in a week, and unfortunately I think that our performance that day reflected that it was the 3rd game in the week. But I'm not trying to take anything away from Blackpool. You've heard me say earlier that I'm very impressed with the way they play and with what they've done. I thought they beat us fair and square on the day. So I'm not trying to take away from them, but I do think it's incumbent upon me to point out that it was the 3rd game in a week, and maybe we went in that game a little bit more tired than I gave the players credit for.